Hey, g'day, Glenn Morris here from the Smart Energy Lab with another Tech Quickie. Now today, it's going to be a slightly deeper dive, but just into one topic, all about inverter energy system labeling. Yep. So first up, there's a lot of new main switch labels. Some of you may have noticed that the standard has shown them with red lettering on a white background. What's that all about? Well, it's not prescriptive, but it's just one way of meeting ASNZS 3000's clause 2.3.3.5a. It requires main switches to be distinguishable from other switchgear. Yeah, so colour is one way of achieving this. In fact, 4777 Part 1 doesn't even mandate a colour in clause 6.3 for main switches or their labels. So there are many ways to distinguish a main switch from other switchgear, such as the switch colour itself. You know, it's quite common to see a red toggle. Its position on the switchboard, typically grouped on the left-hand side. That's pretty popular. Spacing from other switchgear, or using a coloured main switch label, such as those shown in 4777 Part 1. I think you'll find quite a lot of the label companies will defer to that option. Okay, let's go through the list of main switches. Number 1. Main switch, in brackets, grid. That's what it says on the main switch label. No change from previous versions, except they're showing it as red on white. Remember, it's got to differentiate from other switchgear in the switchboard. Number 2, main switch, brackets, inverter. Yep, this is the label for the supplementary supply. But what's weird is the standard avoids using the words supplementary on the switch label itself. So it's just the good old main switch, brackets, inverter. Now, supplementary supplies are those that parallel with the grid, such as a standard grid tie inverter. A solar grid tie inverter is a supplementary supply. Number 3, main switch, brackets, alternative. Now, the label requires the supply type, alternative, to be shown on the switch label. Now, alternative supplies are those that can be provided as an alternative to the grid in the case of grid failure. Think of this as a typical hybrid inverter, referred to as a multimode inverter in the standard, with a backup port or an external ATS to provide backup. That's an alternative supply. Main switch, brackets, independent. The label requires the supply type, independent, to be shown on the switch label. Independent supplies are inverters that can use the grid as a source, but not parallel with the grid to provide export. These inverter types would need to be compliant with ASNZS 4777 Part 2 2020 Appendix M. Think of an SP Pro. Additionally, the input supply to the inverter requires a switch label, which says isolator, brackets, grid input. On the independent switchboard, there may be connected inverters tested to ASNZS 4777 Part 2 2020 and designed to operate with the independent supply inverter. For example, a Selectronic certified Fronius inverter. Now lastly, number 5, main switch, brackets, substitute. The label requires the supply type, substitute, to be shown on the switch label. This is the most esoteric of supply types. If a multimode inverter has a dedicated separate port to a single socket outlet that may be on the inverter or connected by fixed installation wiring with a maximum rating of 15 amps and switches both the active and neutral conductor, the substitute supply shall not be electrically connected to the electrical installation. It's kind of like that PV point on Fronius inverters. Anyway, I hope that this helped explain the mysteries of the new main switch labels. Next, in my Tech Quickie series, will be one on labeling a battery installation correctly and not just sticking every label on the kit on the front of the battery. It's my pet hate. So be warned, you may have been doing it wrong all along. Lastly, I'd like to plug Jeff Bragg's CPD courses. He's made these amazingly deep dives into 4777 Part 1 as part of the Smart Installer program. And if you haven't heard of that, the Smart Energy Council launched the Smart Installer program, and at the moment, it's absolutely free. Yep, free to join, and you get 15 of the essential standards for free, valued at over $5,000. So there you go. Pick up your $5,000 and enjoy. Thanks for watching, and show me some love by giving the video a like, and remember to subscribe so you get notified of new content like more Tech Quickies. Anyway, see ya. Check it.